Okay, this is a bit of a fun video. I'm doing this in response to a bit of a conversation, well, text-based conversation I was having on Aardwolf's Lair very late last night. Well, it was very, very early this morning actually. So I couldn't really continue it. And it's talking about the whole concept of blue-tacking games. I'm going to go over some of the advantages and disadvantages. In that conversation, I think the first one that came up from people who are against blue tacking is this idea that it leaves greasy marks on the actual maps. Now, if you look at that, you can see, that there are some slight marks on the map, and it also leaves like residue where it's not been taken off completely. Now, to reduce that massively, always use a new pack of Blu-tac for every game, and also wash your hands before you start messing with the actual ball of Blu-tac and say setting up new units or really just playing the game, because that's where all the grease is coming from. It's not coming from the Blu-tac, it's coming off your hands. I think other disadvantages of Blu-tac is the tendency for the little bits of Blu-tac. So let's just turn that one up like that. Now, that little piece of Blu-tac there can end up on the carpet, and your significant other is going to give you merry hell for that, because it's difficult to get off the carpet. And depending on the colour of your carpet, it looks messy. So that could be an issue. Another thing about Blu-tac is it can cause counters to disintegrate. Now, this is much worse in older games. The older games used to, you didn't have sort of glossy counters, and they used to have sort of very matte counters, and they could pull away in the centre, ripping the counter. I think the worst one I saw for this was Third World War. Now this game, it depends on all the games. It can be different with the games. Now this one is very odd, that the unit casualty counters, these things rip. They come apart. Now it's dead easy to repair with something like Everstick or wood glue, but it doesn't affect the play counters. They're obviously using a slightly inferior pressing technique with the informational counters. But as I say, if it does rip a counter, modern counters, they separate into layers, so they're dead easy to glue back. And depending on the game, that can be a minor issue or can not be an issue, full stop. The big advantages of Blu-tacking are I can hit the table. I can just go boom, 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 and nothing happens. I'm not messing around putting loads and loads of counters back in the correct place and piling up stacks. Stacking isn't a huge issue, so there's a big stack there. I can flick it and it's not, there it goes. It's flicked off the map. It's not gone all over the table. Another thing, cats. If a cat gets onto your table, now you can train cats not to go onto tables and things, but if you're not around, they can get on. And you know what a cat can do, it'll just lie down in the middle of the game where you're looking at, and the game's complete wreck. Another thing, Blu-tac's great for putting little things. You can use post-it notes, but post-it notes tend to curl up. I tend to pin them down with Blu-tac. Other things with Blu-tac, if you are forced to take the game down for any point, you can simply just separate all your maps, pile it up, stick it in another room, stick it under a table, out of the way, dead simple, no hassle. You can even move the entire game from room to room. Another thing, blue tacking. If you're short of space, you can wall mount stuff. Seriously, I have wall mounted gigantic games like Fire in the East, Scorched Earth and Urals on a wall. It's even though I had to kneel down to play the stuff in the south of the map, and it was practically I had to stand on something to play things in the far north. It's playable. You can play stuff, gigantic games, which would be totally beyond you if you didn't have the beauty of blue tacking. Cost issues. Blue tack, dirt cheap. As I say, I always do a new packet. Just buy a load off Amazon, and you'll be sorted for months. Some games do end up getting the map getting marked. No matter how careful you are, you can end up with your map getting marked. Now, you've got to consider with these games, how often are you going to play them? Now, this game, I'm never going to play well, I say to myself, I'll never play this again, but I really like this game. This is Last Blitzkrieg, BCS game. Now, I'm not going to sell it. Even if I did sell it, I'd make sure people knew that, and I'd show them pictures of where the map's slightly stained, and I'd also reduce the price. So that's something worth considering. Blue tacking is also great if you're going to use like markers like that. That's to say that's a victory point hex. You don't have to worry about these things getting knocked over the table, stuff like that. Wall mounting, I'm not really using it in this game because it fits on the table, but for example here, this is a chart that's wall mounted. So just stick it back on there. Now, yet again, if you stick these on the wall using blue tack, or even worse, if you mount them with drawing pins, your significant other is going to give you hell unless it's in a spare room where you'll say, oh, don't worry, I'll paint over it or whatever, or clean it all off. Just remember that as well. Blue tacking when you're using these little things like this, yeah, again, I can just pick that up, throw it around, and it doesn't go flying all over the table. Don't need to use tweezers. This is the main thing. Apart from cat protection, this is the reason why I blue tack. I cannot stand messing around with tweezers. I watch so many videos of people trying to move stacks around with tweezers, and the stacks are falling over, and oh dear, it just, no, it's not on for certain individuals. And that's it. So I welcome anyone to comment on this video about blue tacking. It's something I do, and it's something I'm amazed that I don't see anyone else doing, even though I can definitely understand the reasons why some people won't do it.